Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Crypto Traders Arena. It's Tuesday, and it's Kevin here, August 8th. I'm going to do a little crypto show for everybody. I apologize if you can hear, there's a crazy thunderstorm going on right now, and it's pretty loud, actually. The rain hit my window, so I apologize for the noise if you can hear that. I'm sure you can, because it's pretty damn loud. But I tried to turn on noise suppression on my recording. Hopefully that'll cut down on it a bit, but damn, it's pretty crazy, which is nice. There hasn't been rain here in a little while. I live in a desert climate, and man, it's been dry lately, so it's nice to get the rain. It's just kind of a funny timing. Hopefully, my internet holds up. But anyway, welcome everybody. Hello, and just back here on another Tuesday. Tuesday's kind of our day where we're doing some more public shows. I usually stream at this time or make some sort of video for our community. Damn, the thunder's insane. Anyhow, I do think I am streaming here. It looks like everything's going, so hopefully I am. Maybe if you're in the chat, you can say hey and tell me if the audio is okay and if I'm actually live. It looks like I am, but anyhow, I was just saying that Tuesdays is our day to. Oh, cool. Thanks. So I'm live. Yeah, Tuesdays is our day to do a little bit more content for just general YouTube and everybody that follows us here. So welcome if you're new. I'm going to talk about crypto today, and then of course also like earlier today, we had our. Actually, I didn't see Stefan would typically be scalping, but I don't think he was available today. I'm not sure what's going on there, but usually on Tuesdays during the London session, we have Stefan live scalping, and that's available for everybody to watch on Tuesdays. And then, of course, every day Paul is doing his daily plan video, which is also around the London session, where he just kind of gives everybody some levels to work with for the day and what he's looking for as far as like kind of day trading. Hey, David. And yeah, so and then I'm going to come on Tuesdays at this same time, right around the New York Stock Exchange close. Essentially, I'll live stream, and I think on Tuesdays mostly it'll be crypto oriented. I will do like a sort of brief, broader market review, and then we're just going to, like today, I'm just going to jump into a handful of names that I've sort of picked out that look pretty good to me. So I thought it'd just be cool to just run through them fast, and you can get an idea of what I'm looking for. And then before that, I think I'll just talk really quick about the broader market. So I'll start with the DXY and just kind of pick up on the conversation that we sort of always have, or at least on Sundays, I usually go through, just the stock market and the DXY just to kind of get a relation to crypto, see what's going on relative to crypto. But anyway, like, I think on Sunday, I probably left it off, a couple of days ago where we had, the DXY has obviously caught a strong bounce here. And now we're kind of getting up into levels that maybe warrant another lower high here if the DXY is still trending down. We came up against this trend line in like Mountain Man of this range, 61.8 of this range. Got rejected, tried to kind of 3-bar fractal out, but you could see how the moving averages have crossed, bullishly now. And we found support here at the 13 a couple of days ago, and now we're just back up against the trend line. So I still think we're going to hit the 200 period moving average. So I don't think this rally is over yet, really, but I'm looking for some sort of top coming in here. And of course, if we can roll over again in this area, that sort of just will probably give some breathing room for the stock market to catch a bid, because it's obviously been selling off for like a week. But anyway, you can kind of see the trend line here. And then I like this trend line personally. And then the 200, I'm a big fan of the daily 200 moving average just for like general trend. And of course, you could see how the dollar, how it's rolled over to the downside now, and the dollar is actually under the 200 and kind of making, lower highs and lower lows. So it's still technically in a long-term downtrend, until we get above the 200 and start, put in like a bull flag or some sort of consolidation pattern up here and then a move higher. Until then, I still think we're probably just in this downtrend. So I think it's likely we come up into this reload zone here and then M out and come back down and eventually hit this long reload zone. I still think we'll probably hit that. We'll see though. But like in regards to how that, you can kind of see, like, obviously when the dollar found its bottom here, and bounce, that sort of set the stage for the market, for the stock market to kind of roll over for a bit. And that sort of took some time to actually happen. But then, eventually as it stands right now, like the ES, did sell off for the last week, and we even gapped down on, I think that was the FOMC day after the FOMC, but we, kind of gapped down and just sold off for pretty much the whole week last week. Tried to catch a bounce yesterday, couldn't really. And then today we're kind of, now this afternoon, we're sort of buying up the sell off that happened this morning. We kind of came out selling, and then now it's kind of, we're trying to put in this tail here. But really all I would want to point out with the ES is, we never got a structural top here. We had, there's obviously good short location. This like red box is, this is 78.6 off of the all-time highs. And of course we had lots of divs. I think I talked about this on Sunday. So lots of confirmed divergences and then good location, but not really like a structural top. And all I would say is, you can see how, like, I had drawn this trend line and also this sort of support and resistance line off of this W here. And you can see how we've just been finding support against it. It's not a huge surprise. That's all I'd really point out about this. Like, if you're looking at a market that has like a serious uptrend like this, higher highs and higher lows, then you would expect this like Wyckoff checking the last consolidation period. And so I think you'd have to say the trend is still, now while it's losing steam for sure, we're still kind of, making higher highs and higher lows. So if we stay above this level here, that seems strong enough to push us at least back up to the top of the range here, which at that point, I think shorting up in this gap or something like that is super reasonable, because, like I said, we do have all the bearish divergences confirmed. That cool divergence indicator is showing like 7 confirmed now. It was 6 on Sunday, so we got another confirmed divergence. So clearly there's like clearly there's a lot of pressure to the downside for the ES here, but to be fair, we're still kind of grinding higher, and we found support here for the moment, and there's no structural top in certain, like, in terms of like candle patterns or whatever. So it's just pointing that out. And the moving averages are starting to get tighter here, but not crossed yet. So until they really, I would expect, it's like kind of my gut is we're sort of going to be sideways here for a minute. Remember the dollar has to roll over too, so it'll take some time for the dollar to put in a real top, or not. Like, maybe it consolidates and pushes higher again. So whatever the dollar is going to do in this, it's going to take a little bit of time to play out. I kind of see this as like, it's just sort of like this move here has started to run out of steam, and now we got to figure out what the next thing is. So it'd be like sort of like, do we bull flag here, or do we M out and roll over? Too early to say, but the NASDAQ looks worse. So just, moving on to the NASDAQ, because it does have an M top. So I mean, maybe that's more of the tell here. You can clearly see this is very much more like a top. I mean, the divergences and location reasons are both there, obviously, here on NASDAQ too, but you can see the actual structural top here. So that looks a lot worse. Kind of same idea. We're trying to buy it up today. Now this afternoon, they're trying to take back the sell off. But I mean, we had a pretty strong, to be fair, this morning opened up, well, I should say last night, sorry, opened up right on that M breakdown again level and just dumped. So now we're trying to bounce a little bit, which actually that red line is like a key high going back to, last year, April. So like, it's kind of like we dipped more into the consolidation. We didn't bounce right off the highs like we did on the ES, but still same kind of idea. We're trying to find some sort of support here. But that's a full on M. So what can you say if you're short? I can't fault anybody for shorting that level. I mean, there's a setup there. There's good location. There's confirmed divergences. And then now there's an M top. So this is more toppy looking than the ES at the moment. It is what it is. And then the Russell, I'll just point out, I do like to follow the small cap stock market. And it had a great tag of just this key high here, and it's bounced pretty strong. Sold off hard earlier, and then now it's bounced right off key support. And I still am looking for a test to the top of the range here, which is this ABCD. And so, like, small cap stocks still seem like they have room to move up a little bit, and you're kind of seeing it a little bit. They kind of got kicked in the nuts here the last week, but there's still a lot of nice looking W's and stuff. But I'm not going to get too into stocks today. But I think this is still kind of going, no real M here, and I'm still looking for a move up to the top of this ABCD, which is essentially just the top of this kind of huge range that I've been talking about for a while here. I'd postulated on, this isn't just for the sake of talking about RSI a little bit. Like, this is a pretty good example of like a sort of an RSI trend breakdown. We had established this nice trend line here, and then the M came in, which was a divergence, not a great sign for this. So this dump here isn't a huge surprise. But now that we've lost the trend line, you can see how we're like actually hitting the 50 line right now. And so I would expect a bounce there. You know, who knows what's going to happen, but it's pretty common for it to bounce there. And now it'll come up and test this underside of the trend line. And if it can M out through the 50 line, that's like party's kind of over for RSI here. But that's still too early to say that. We might W out on the 50 line and move back higher. But this is kind of like what I would expect for a breakdown to look like in RSI. See an M through the 50 line now that under the trend line. So that's cool. But it's nice to see Bitcoin catching a bid today, actually. Just moving on. That's enough of the stock market and stuff. I do have a lot of names I want to kind of just rip through as quickly as I can, so I can at least give you guys an idea of I've found a lot of altcoins that look interesting to me, and this is just a handful of them. So I'll get into those. But real quick with Bitcoin, did kind of want to just zoom out really quick to a weekly chart just to sort of remind everybody where we're at. And today's this is a weekly chart, but today's been a pretty uppy day just here in the last few hours. Bitcoin seems to be bouncing pretty good and came into a pretty key level. But before I get down to the daily, I just kind of want to zoom out to remind everybody about the head and shoulders. I think this is a very nice head and shoulders, and the target is up at 38.2. And I still think the move to 35K is on the table, which would be the next higher high in a series of higher highs and higher lows. This is sort of a higher low here, and I've been postulating for a while now. Are we going to set up like an ABCD potential like continuation long from like this area here up to 35? And it kind of looks like it might be coming in now, although the structure doesn't look amazing on the daily yet. But just wanted to remind everybody the head and shoulders is here. The target's up at 35K, and there's 38.2 of the entire range is also 35K, and then the number itself 35K is another. So I have three good reasons of confluence. They're like confluence reasons. They're all location reasons, essentially. But I think it's reasonable to think about getting up here. I still like that. I mean, and that's really just kind of, like on a daily chart, this area here shows up as like a little consolidation, kind of like top of the range. And so we're sort of range bound underneath, whatever that is, 32,000 or so. That's sort of like the top of this current range. And it's like, do we pop the top on that range a little bit? And when I look at this, there is just a fair value gap right here up above. So like that's another kind of confluence with this 35K area. And then also just kind of getting up into these tails here and stuff just seems reasonable to me. RSI is not overbought yet, which is a good sign. You can see the last time RSI truly was overbought was when we M'd out over here at the first high, like in the last cycle. And, we almost got it there, but even there, when we actually made the all-time high, we only just maybe tagged RSI being overbought. And then again, right here, we almost kind of got up there, but not quite. So we still have room to move, and you can almost see like a W coming in. So like, and again, actually, I was talking about RSI 50 lines. You can see how we just, basically have come down and tested the 50 line a couple times now and bounced, and we could potentially W here. So there's plenty of room for price to move up without RSI getting overbought. And then OBV doesn't look great, but it is making a potential W here too. And also really OBV hasn't truly broken down. So I still see on a weekly chart, and that's the only point to this, I still like the head and shoulders target. For the bears, I mentioned this on Sunday. The only kind of bearish location tool that I could really apply here would be this ABCD off of the lows, which we've been flirting with that sort of PRZ. So that would be like a ABCD PRZ, like potential short location if you were like a harmonic trader trading ABCD patterns. And so that would be location for the shorts. But otherwise, I don't really like location for shorting right here. I mean, technically, we're almost in the reload zone still. So it's just a hard place to step in and like be a seller of Bitcoin, like in sort of the longer term. Now for trading, I don't know if my trade will set up or not. It's a lot closer, you know. So this is that ABCD trade. I kind of thought, you know, this is like a weird consolidation range after we shot up on the um you know, this was like the BlackRock ETF kind of pump or whatever you want to call it. We shot up there and kind of went into this consolidation, and now this is kind of like a weird flag. It's definitely like a weird kind of strange consolidation. It's not like set up perfectly or anything, but you can, you know, I'd highlighted like, you know, 38.2 and to 50% level, like sort of Collins pump chaser zone idea. I thought we would probably bottom in here somewhere, and I was hoping for a cleaner W. Of course, we have been flirting around down here, and you know, finally came down and hit this key high here, which seems to make sense. And now that's our bottom at this point. And now we're kind of W now. It's damn ugly, but I'd said I was waiting for a W here. I don't know if this, I mean, that's technically, does it look like a W on a line chart? Kind of not really. Not totally. But so I don't know. I don't know if I trust that 100%, but it looks like the ABCD trade could be setting up. So it's a little late to be chasing it right here, and I didn't love the structure here, but it's nice to see Bitcoin at least just catching some strength, and that does set up the possibility for this. This is kind of what I'm looking for, you know. Now we're on the other side of the trend line. I'd rather see like a nicer W here, but we essentially have one low and one higher low now, I would say. So maybe another pullback here would be the chance to enter this long of some sort, depending on your individual setups. But I could see any kind of like, you know, any sort of bullish price action on a pullback here, and this trade starts to become more, well, I should just say it's closer. Let's just leave it at that. It's closer to coming in. So I do see this bot coming in, basically, is what I'm getting at. And you can actually see the W through the 50 line on RSI on a daily chart. And then OBV also kind of, you know, actually OBV might W out by today. So if we get a pretty strong close today, you'll see this as a W here. So that trade is setting up. And it might be fun to try to go and trade the Beto calls and see if like I can buy some calls or something on this trade, looking for a move up to here. So anyway, that's enough of that. You know, I've been talking about this for a while now, since like back here, I think. I probably was, you know, just kind of thinking this would probably be something like this. I mean, long story short is it hasn't, I mean, it's Bitcoin's looked like shit for a week or two, or actually like more like a month or longer even, but it hasn't looked great, but it hasn't ever truly broken down. Like just kind of going back with the just basic trend following, you know, it's just higher highs and higher lows. And now do we make another higher highs? I think there's a good chance we do. So anyway, leave it at that. And then I'll just, Ethereum is also still just kind of doing nothing. It didn't quite hit the 200 period moving average here. I thought we'd probably bounce off of it. But I'm just still waiting to see what happens at this trend line and the 200. There's nothing else to do with Ethereum. It's catching a bid today also, just like Bitcoin. But again, we're just back to the middle of the range. Like Ethereum's just been hilariously kind of trapped around the 50% level of this range. And I think we are, you know, range bound in that area. So like shorting up against the highs and buying against these lows would probably be the only like sort of daily time frame kind of trades. I don't like the idea of doing anything right here. I suppose you could argue that maybe we start setting up trend continuation here if we get another W, because we could maybe justify that same kind of ABCD, but it's still too early. We're still making, you know, in this case, we're making lower highs and lower lows through this period here. But as I've said like a bunch, really, it just, until we get on the other side of this trend line and the moving average and breakdown, I'm not really looking for like lower prices down here for now until that actually happens. And if that does, that's great. Maybe we get buying opportunities towards the end of the year down here. We'll see. But it hasn't broken yet. So it's just, so not a lot to say. But yeah, that's kind of the broader market. And then moving on to Bitcoin dominance, I'll just make one comment on, you know, we've been talking about this summer. Maybe we would get like an August rally. We're kind of hoping for a bullish August. And maybe we get it in Bitcoin and not altcoins. We're kind of looking for it in altcoins, and some of them are up. I mean, I can see some like double digit gains even in this list here. There's a few that are up 15% on, well, that's the same one. That's both OXT, but there's a couple that are up a little bit today. There's another one, AKT. but in general, they're not doing too much, it seems like. So, and with dominance kind of bouncing back up to possibly the top of the range here, altcoins are probably going to have a hard time catching a bid. And I think I heard Paul say on his daily plan video today that, as long as this is pushing higher, he's not really interested in altcoins so much. And I can agree with that. This is, I mean, of course, this is a weekly chart here. So we're putting in a second green candle or, another week of potential uppy here. It's not really like anything's changed. We're still just strongly trending higher, but you can kind of see, all I'll say is we came up into 38.2 of the whole range. We thought maybe this would roll over and come back and test at least the top of the old range and maybe get back inside. And that would set up sort of the summer rally for altcoins that we were hoping for. I don't think it's happened yet. I think right now it looks kind of more like if we go to like a daily chart, it looks like we're going to test the M. And so we might have to just run up into this level here next. Seems like a pretty close stop here. We, push up into the M, maybe even higher than there and see what happens here. Like, do we get rejected and move down again, or does it have to move higher up into like a reload zone or a short reload zone of this range if we drew fibs off the top here? You could see here, like, 61.8 is a little higher than the M top, but, so we're going to move up into resistance here is the point. We're starting to get on the other side of this trend line. So we might consolidate and push higher. Who knows? But for right now, alt season kind of looks off at the moment, just using Bitcoin dominance until we start seeing like a rejection here against the old highs, maybe some sort of market top, like at least a 3-bar fractal or an M or something. It kind of looks, not so great. We didn't get the dip down to here that I thought we might get. But so that's where we're at. So this is maybe Bitcoin actually has this August rally and then we roll over in September still. Like maybe Bitcoin does make it up to that 35K before it rolls over into the end of the year. And it's not sort of altcoin related. We'll see. That said, though, there's a lot of nice looking altcoins, so I'll just get into those. I wanted to try to get through all of these blue ones at least. Just there's quite a few of them, but I just wanted to quickly kind of go through them and just share my opinion on why I like them. And hopefully, as I go through all of them, hopefully, you should notice a couple things. Like one, hopefully, location is good, and that's pretty much a given in most altcoins right now. Location isn't horrible in a good chunk of the market, with the exception of things like maybe render or some of the high flyers that haven't quite come back down yet. But you should see that my trade location is good, and then you should see that the OBV is looking promising, and hopefully there at least a W or in divergence on a weekly chart. And then hopefully there's some sort of potential W, if not a market structure W that's already confirmed. That's the goal here. And most of these have that, and some of them might have other reasons for being on the list, but I'm just going to try to hammer through them really quick. I'll start with, they're all in alphabetical order, so they're not in any particular order here. They're not graded or anything. I've talked about AGLD a lot in the past, and I've just really thought this is a nice looking chart because it does have exactly the, the OBV divergence came in before the last rally back here, and then we got a nice weekly W. People were banging off one or two doubles. I got one double off on this. I had bought the pullback. I had originally bought this green line here as we pulled back against the W, which is basically my setup, right? So like good location, OBV divergence, weekly W, retest the weekly W, and there's plenty of weeks. I mean, there's weeks and weeks to buy this level. And I actually posted this in my trading room on Discord, right here, I think on that candle. So plenty of time to get involved. But anyway, where are we at right now? Of course, it blasted off hard and came right back down. And I'm just pointing it out because now as it comes back down into like 78.6s and also my green line again at 38 cents or whatever that is. Yeah, 39 cents in between 78.6 and 88.6. I love the idea of just buying that W level. So a chance to get filled against there again, I like. Look at OBV still just, strongly pointing up. It'll probably M out right here, a little M as it like pulls back, but even if we get all the way back down to here, OBV probably won't take too big of a hit, likely, compared to like this uptrend it's been on. So anytime I can find a chart that looks like this, I like it. I mean, of course, you missed the first rally if you weren't already long. For me, I'm reloading. I actually reloaded at Mountain Man here to start nibbling back right here. But but I do expect it to come down. So I like that one a lot. And that one only has like 70 million coins out, so that's nice. Um, and by the way, a lot of these I found on Coinbase. So a lot of these are actually US. These are names that I can trade. Um, Not all of them, but most of them are names that are available either on Kraken or Coinbase. So I do have access to them. Unlike YGG, which I could talk about in a minute, that took off like 5x after I told everybody to buy it, but I really didn't have a good place to buy it. So that's a little painful. I suppose I could have bought it on chain or something, but I didn't mess with that. And anyway, but these are all ones that I can trade. Like this one's on Coinbase. Uh, this one, I mostly am just highlighting the weekly W. We got a nice close even last week above the weekly W level. Um, so nice weekly W. And this one in particular, I remember I was like looking for OBVWs and divs. I don't like that. So that's kind of a negative check against this. But in general, I like it. You know, it's just made, it is making new lows, but it did W out. And so I'd prefer to see a nice W come in OBV just to give me some confirmation that this thing is actually turned, but it still looks pretty damn good. It looks like it wants to move higher. And of course, if you bought this W level at 0023, you know, a double, sorry, double W, a double would only be, you know, where's that? Like up here somewhere. So just, you know, probably less than a 50% level off of that high. You could probably bang you could easily bang a double out just, you know, back to 38.2 basically. So that I like that. I just don't love OBV. So that's AMP. API 3. This one has gotten knocked back down, but it did make a nice W. And you know, so now we have a weekly W here and we're back below the level. I'll leave it up to you to decide if you think it's worth taking a shot here, but I do like the W is in now. Nice strong close. We just got knocked right back down. And in this case, OBV, you know, is clearly, it's in like well, it's in confirmed divergence all the way back to this low. We did make a lower low here. So there's like a W in there in a big wide way. I'd prefer to see like some divergences in like these, you know, from that low to that low, for example, which didn't quite come in. And then it's also not like, I don't know if we can really call that a W. Yes, it's sort of emming out almost. And then we had that pop. So this is another one where it's like a weekly W, but I don't love OBV, but it still looks, I mean, it looks good. And this one's actually kind of power 3 status, depending on, you know, like if we call these equal lows here, like we got 2 equal lows, we closed below and then we fought to get back in. If we can stay inside the range here, you could argue this is a power 3 and we should be looking for a move higher now that they've taken the liquidity from these lows here. So I like that. Looks good. Audio is just kind of a personal favorite of mine. I don't know. I like I'm a musician and I like their platform, even though I don't know how the coin directly relates to the platform. I mean, I know the artists get paid in the coin and stuff, and you can stake it, and it's cool because it's a real decentralized like SoundCloud. Like it is. I think they use like interplanetary file system and everything. So when you know, it's just like SoundCloud essentially, but it is like a decentralized cloud, which is pretty interesting. And I suppose that's the use of the coin, is it's a reward token for the staking people or whatever. But I just kind of like it. And you know, I actually did bang a double off in this move here. And so I'm just like reloading down here at the bottom of the range, but you can see the weekly W coming in. And this one, in this case, like, you know, we do have nice W's and OBV coming in as we made a new load, or as we came down against the lows here. And I think probably even in divergence a little bit. Not quite, because that's technically a lower low there as we went down, but definitely a W here. So that's cool. And then also you can see OBV just trending higher in general. But I like that. You can see the weekly W is coming in, but to be fair, this is only Tuesday and this candle looks kind of weak. So like we got to be careful with something like this. You know, yeah, you can argue that the W came in and broke out. I suppose that would be the breakout level there. But I mean, we could close this candle red and by Sunday, it's still Tuesday. So when you see something like this, it could very much be a fake out. So I don't know if I want to just go buy it right here today. I'd rather wait and just sort of see. Hopefully we push higher and actually close. You know, it'd be more my style to look for the close above here and then try to hunt that level. But if you're just nibbling and you like the name, you can't fault the location. We're just down against the old lows. Good, nice location, and it is a W. So I like that. Uh, Band I kind of mostly just like because OBV. I had a while back, I think it was a few weeks ago, like a month ago, we were talking about this, and I kind of thought we'd probably W off the lows here. Um, I was just thinking of where would the W come in, and it hasn't come in yet, but you can see OBV just looks amazing, really. And we are in just kind of like this long-term bullish divergence all the way since back here. Even since like that low, essentially, we've just been trending strongly higher, making tons and tons of W's. And then as we consolidate down here and just getting into this tight little consolidation, OBV is just cranking higher. So I like that. I would like to wait for a W, but you can see that we're just trading against the lows, these lows, and you can also see there's a lot of downside risk. That's why I kind of like the idea of the W coming in a little lower, because here we're at like $1.20, and I could easily see this is 20 cents down here at this purple line. So this thing could take a huge hit still. But wherever the W comes in, that's where I want to be a buyer. Moving on, try to keep going through these fast. And they all should kind of look the same. I'm just trying to give a broad overview of all the ones that I find to look interesting right now. There's a lot of them. And I mean, I'm not telling you to go buy any one of these in particular. I think that's up to you. That's kind of, in that sense, I'm not telling anybody to buy anything. These are just the things I'm hunting. And if I'm talking about it here, it's likely I've either already bought it or I'm going to buy it. I'll try to say when I am and I don't mind sharing my levels. I especially share them in the Discord room, but these are all ones that fit my setup and my plan. And to be fair, I'm also kind of like, I'm still sticking with the same game plan of like, this is generally an accumulation year. I'm looking to accumulate altcoins this year, but I also was hoping for some sort of August rally, which may or may not come in. And so if I miss any of these trades right now, I'm really focused on trying to buy into the end of the year in general. So that's kind of like, so I'm not in a huge rush with these. It's more like I'm just trying to get set up so that I do think there'll be like a better buying opportunity later in the year. And it's also possible that summer rally thing doesn't happen at all, and then we just have to plot like this. Something like this just could keep going sideways indefinitely until whenever the actual bottom comes in. We might not get this like summer pop, but in general, I'm looking for to buy most of these things like into the end of the rest of the year. I'm not like in a huge rush. But this Bico is one somebody asked me about on Sunday, and kind of a good example of that same sort of weekly W. Like, I mean, first of all, to be fair, the OBV div is fully in now, so I love that. This is a fully confirmed OBV divergence. Nice big volume day or week last week, and kind of the same thing as that other one I was talking about, a weekly W, but it was like mostly wick. It was all wick there, and it ended up closing kind of ugly here. Still green, and now we're just so far just putting in a doji this week. So I don't trust a weekly W like this so much, but I do acknowledge it's there. And this sort of same thing. I don't even know what this thing is, but if this was a name that fundamentally you're interested in and you thought it had potential, then I couldn't fault anybody for buying down against the lows here. And you do have a weekly W to work with and OBV divergence. It's just, it's just kind of weekly W. So it's not really fully. It doesn't look like it's just going to pop off tomorrow, but who knows? And just real quick too, I'll add that, this is kind of like a power 3 type thing too. In this, if you were to call those the equal lows here, and then we, if we can start closing back inside of the range, then we can start looking for higher. But it looks good, but it's not like I'm fucking let's go buy it right. Like go buy it now. I'm not saying that, but these do look good. Bancor is another weekly W that I don't really like OBV. It was sort of trending down, and then it just bounced hard V bottom. But obviously weekly W, and then now you can't chase it up here. But this is the kind of thing I would like to buy a retrace of the W. Me personally, I wish the OBV looked a little better. I'd like to see a W, or at least maybe divergence even better. But we're kind of trending down in OBV, and now we just sort of broke the old high. So that's promising. And then as it pulls back, because I'm not going to buy it right here anyway, And maybe this thing just launches tomorrow. Who knows? Like maybe we missed it entirely, but pullbacks against the W, and and any kind of if OBV looks promising at that point, then I like the idea of buying down here against that W. So that's down at like 41, 42 cents. Um, the C98 is another kind of potential weekly W with nice OBV divergence. This one looks really good to me, actually. It just hasn't completely broken out yet. So like maybe set an alert here. It like tried to hit that level here. But you know, just me personally, I'd like to see this close up here, and then I'd like to buy a retest of that level. That's sort of more my style. You could see the OBV is a nice divergence, and in fact, we have divergence both from like that low to that low, and from this low to that low, and it's actually basically well, it depends on today's close, I guess, or I mean this week's. Or no, actually, it closed. Well, it didn't quite confirm last week. It looks like so we got to see a strong close this week to confirm that. And I guess when I'm saying this, what I mean is, I'm looking for like this W to confirm that, basically this. So like, or actually, I'm sorry, it confirmed right there then technically. So yeah, we actually have, yeah, so am I drawing that right? Let me look at this. Looks like I am. Yeah, so that would be my W. Yeah, lower. Yeah, that's the W right there. So we actually confirmed the OBV div back before, way back here. So that's even better. So a strong close for the week, and this W's in. And this one, so far, that's like kind of the nicest. That's the one that looks, of the ones I've went through so far, that's the one that looks most likely to actually break out if it can, if it can make that W. It hasn't made it yet. So, you know, whether you want to front run that or not is up to you. I don't really, me personally, again, I'm kind of like more, I want to wait for a weekly W in general. I'm sort of over it with like knife catching altcoins. I've done a lot of it and it works, but I don't know, for some reason more and more I become a little bit more conservative and just I'd like to wait for more confirmation. Because I also know that there's a pretty good chance of getting the retest. If they break this out here, it's not that hard to get. Even that, like I know people that would hunt lower than, like they'll let the W break out and then start hunting like reload zones or something off that. And so I'm even, to get filled at the W levels, it's not that hard. You just got to be patient. Sometimes you'll miss them. Like sure, sometimes they go kind of high and then come back, or sometimes they come right back. Sometimes they don't come back at all. But you just, that's how I like to. I like to wait for the W. Let's see this one. Actually, I don't know. I thought about deleting this one from this one doesn't have anything except a past weekly W. I did bang a double out here in that move. It's reloadable if you did that. You could see how back the last move, the OBV div did come in. You could see it came in right there, confirmed, and then the weekly W confirmed. And then the retest. Actually, this is a good example of what I was just talking about. If you were just patient, like the W came in right there, or the divergence came in right there. Your location is already good. You can, you already know you're buying against old lows. Probably 88.6s and below 78.6, probably way below when you factor in the whole range. Geez, this thing has quite a lot of room to move higher. But you could have waited for that stuff. I mean, that's exactly what I did. In this case, depending on where you want to take the W level, you could have used the candle body because this wick is pretty high. But even using that, I like that. As soon as we start closing above that, you could have bought that level at 1480, 14.8, sorry. And then it went up to 33 something, 35 too. So easily got a double off of that move. And you could have hunted a better pullback, so it's just like where this is where everybody has to, like, it's pretty easy in hindsight to say, oh, look at that W and it pulled back, but you got to figure out in your plan where you're willing to, you can see how we hit 78.6 or sorry, 61.8 and 78.6 in that down move. So you could have gotten better fills down there. Or you could have been more aggressive and bought the W. It's up to you. Either way, you'd have gotten a double, but, now I don't like it now. Actually, I was going to remove this one because I mean, there's just kind of a V bottom in OBV, and location's decent. We're sitting here right at 78.6, so it's like reloadable, and that's fine. But there's no structure here, and I don't really like OBV, so I'll just let this thing take some time to W out again. But looks okay. Dag's one I've been talking about, and it's just sitting there as a weekly W, but it just hasn't done much. And all I can really say is the W's in and the OBVW and divergence is in, and there's a lot of downside risk if it loses that low. That's all, I'll just say that because that it's worth, noting that if this W doesn't hold, and it is kind of a tight W, I'd kind of prefer something a little wider, but if we lose those lows, it could easily come down. That low is what 0.026, and the old lows get all the way down to like 0.006. So quite a lot of room to also just fail here. So keep that in mind. And it hasn't really done much. Not much strength in that weekly W, but it is there. Earn is one I've recently bought took a couple nibbles on. I actually just got filled. I think I should go check here, but I should have gotten filled right there. But I mentioned this one a couple weeks ago too. Kind of ugly W, but basically just trending up OBV. Started getting like a W here in OBV. It's kind of like it is in divergence. It's just kind of weird because we had these two huge up moves, but technically you do have divergence through here as we made lower lows. And then we do have a weekly W, which we barely closed above. And now it's just pulled back against it, and it looks pretty ugly. And if anything, I kind of would expect it to almost do like a wider W, like this. It'll come in again. But I like where I'm buying. So I've been nibbling that one. Well, 2 times. Brack shares is just one that looks kind of like it wants to go to me, but it doesn't truly have a W yet. And it kind of got this weird tail down here. It dipped, they tried to sell it off and it just bounced pretty good. And I think I must have been talking about this a while ago saying, yeah, back here, I was just saying, let's wait for a W. And funny enough, if you count that as your W, then we could still, it's a little weak but a move through there would actually be another W in reload zones with a nice kind of, that's almost like a head and shoulders, but it is a W here in OBV. Not really in divergence, unfortunately, as we move, to a lower low. But we're really working off of this weekly W too. So I like that there's already this strong bottom here. We've come back and tested it, but not lost it. Of course, these are equal lows now that we could kind of set up a power 3 if it wants to dump down and take those, take the liquidity there. That like seems reasonable, but it's a nice location, a nice OBV, and just need a W here. And I wish it would almost been better for that to close down here and then move higher so that it actually could form a real W, kind of like I'd drawn. So be a little patient there, but I like it. I have no idea what this one is. FX. I just stumbled upon it on Coinbase, and you could see the same kind of W with like, there's like a little bit of a theme here. We broke out, and now we're leaving a pretty big wick to the upside here, and it's pretty early in the week, so we'll just have to see how these close. Maybe they close bullishly. We don't know yet. Maybe it closes with some ugly ass red candle making new lows, and this isn't a W at all. So keep that in mind, but you can see the OBV div right through here. So it's got all the, the fixins. We made a new low here, put in a divergence. Now we have a W. We're against the old all-time low, it looks like. Came down and just checked it, basically. And now we're W now. So I like that one. H-bar just looks strong to me, and you can see it's trying to break out its kind of LJ weekly W thing with divergence. So I love H-bar. I think I mentioned this one on Sunday, or maybe that's not true. I was talking about it on one of my streams. I can't remember which one, but you can see we just came down against the old W from last cycle a couple times now, and we're finding support there again. And now we've got divergences, weekly W, and a trend line to work with, and looks like it wants to take off. It's like this one, I wouldn't fault anybody for buying that level, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to work 100%, but like, you're taking a reasonable risk here if you were to even to trade this thing, and you could even zoom in and, maybe hunt a better entry, but like maybe risk to this low back here. But I could see like if you, took that, a double is it's like a 2.5 5 to 1 to make your double. You're just basically getting up into this open air here. A test of like this kind of key low, just to move up into that key low would give you your double. So I like that. Just buying that breakout seems reasonable, especially if we close like, if it can close above the level, today, and then, you hunt a pullback into the either that level or deeper. Seems like a reasonable trade to me. So, um, so I like that one. And shit, I still got. I've been talking 45. Maybe in an hour I can. Yeah, I could take 15 more minutes and go through these. That seems reasonable, and keep this to an hour. So I'll just keep plugging away. I'm just gonna keep running through them. And I bet there's more. I mean, again, I just kind of went through my Coinbase list, and then I had a few of these on my list already, and it took me like half an hour to pick out all these. And I would say that every chart I've looked at is at least reasonable. It at least has like a couple reasons to start thinking long. Like this one is no different. There's a cheeky little weekly W down here. You could probably see that with like a line chart. Just it's very tight and little, but it's down against the lows. Massive OBV. Well, there's a nice OBV div right there, but then the whole thing is trending higher. But in that low, new low there's a W that came in there. So that's what I really like to see too. Like you can see the weekly W back here, and then it took off. I like to see the divergence be in this move. Sometimes it's from this low to a new low, which is okay, but I'm looking for it right here, ideally like this. And we did close that W, so we have it. But we also have, a nice trending higher OBV div, or sorry, not really div, but like just nice potential W, big old uptrend here in OBV. So it's, in accumulation, it looks like. And it's not the best looking W, but it's there, and it's just kind of sitting, I suppose the Wyckoff check technically already happened. Like if you were going to call that the breakout level, you can see how this week we just came right down into it and gave the retest and bounced. So that doesn't mean it won't come down again, but that's kind of evidence that there is buying interest here. They're buying that up this week so far. Like if we look at a daily chart, yeah, they just yesterday tagged it, and now we're having an update today. This is the kind of thing where, again, it depends on where you're at, like what your plan says. If you want to draw fibs here and buy reload zones 61.8 and below, or are you fine with taking a shot at the at the W breakout level, which I'm pretty fine with. I am long this thing. I was nibbling, I don't remember exactly because I don't have my actual chart that I'm trading up here. I can't remember where I'm long this thing. I don't remember exactly where I was buying. Maybe it was that W I bought, but I didn't get filled here. But that's a nice place. And there's also this cheeky daily W down here. Actually, that would be a nice level to sneak in at, right at 61.8. So, anyway, nice W there. God, I gotta keep moving. LPT, this one blasted off yesterday. You can see this is a weekly W. I'm on a daily chart now, but you can see it's coming right back down to the level. So what does that look like on a weekly? Kind of another one of those big wicks, but OBV divergence in that W is a divergence right there. And now we have, a nice wider W with the big volume week so far. Not the greatest looking candle at the moment. You could see that on the daily chart. It was just coming back down. So whether you go by that level or not, sort of up to you as always. But I don't see it. I mean, at least you're buying a W here, right? Like somewhere there and below, you're trying to get in on this W and hope for a bounce. That's $5.16. So it doubles, basically right up against the old high here. So that's, maybe trying to sneak in a little lower. It looks like it probably could come down some. So that would give you a better chance of sneaking your double in before, if you get in at like, 430 or something down here, then your double level is only up here, like basically at that M. So you could sneak in a double there, which is a lot better place. So I like that. I mean, daily chart looks like a nice W. The weekly chart, let's just see how it closes. I mean, maybe we should wait up for all of these to close on Sunday and see how strong they look then. But damn, it looks good. I like that. Maker's too late to buy, but damn, I like this chart. So I just left it on my list because hopefully we get another chance to buy this thing, but um not really divergence through there, but we did put the W in. Of course, location's good. It's just been really strong here for the last several months. Probably need to, you know, I suppose like this is another good example of like this is chasing it a little bit up here at 985. So I mean, I could see buying that, and that's still fine. Like it's still in reload zones and stuff. You know, if we drew fibs off of here, we're still way down against 88.6 below it even. So I mean, buying that level, you're not like buying, you know, you're not chasing in the bigger picture. Whether or not you have to go underwater after that purchase is up in the air, and it's likely, you know, maybe there's a long period of sideways where you're underwater here because you bought that level. Maybe you can buy lower levels in here as it pulls back. I'd probably draw my fibs here, and you know, I like to take us like several nibbles and sprinkle some bids through there. So, but damn, I like that W. And of course, I mean, our Sunday show trading plan is long from like 600. So we caught a fill in this tail and got a double off. And so we'll be looking to reload as it pulls back. But if you're not long, probably got to, you know, just wait. But I do like the way Maker looks. This one isn't really that interesting. I mean, there is a weekly W here, and the OBV looks like shit, but I just left it on here because I wanted to go look at it again because I remember this one from last time. It's called Monavale, and it's like some sort of NFT close for like games and stuff. I don't remember exactly, but I thought it was interesting a long time ago, or when it, for, you know, last cycle, and then I didn't buy it, and I remember watching it go like 10x, and I was just watching it going like, damn, because it was like a on-chain only kind of thing, and I didn't. I was like tracking it and didn't buy it, and then had to painfully watch it go without me. And so then I saw it today, and I was like, oh, cool. I want to maybe take a shot on it this time. And I did notice that, you know, we are in divergence here with OBV, well, potential divergence at least through the bigger kind of picture, made a new low here, and now we've W'd out. So it does actually has a nice weekly W with the close above the W breakout level. So I mean, it's just sitting right there, right at the level. So I like that one. I'm gonna go look into it a little bit more, but just thought it's kind of funny. Like they make like it's like high fashion, but it's like NFTs. Like you can buy like an NFT of like some like space age looking video game dress or something. I don't know. I gotta go look at it again, but if I remember, that's what it was. But anyhow, moving on. That's Monavale. I like that one. This one is NCT Polyswarm. And also, I'm not commenting on the fundamentals. Hopefully, you guys all know this already. I'm only commenting on technical charts for the most part. I'm not like getting into like which one's going to be the next shit or the greatest thing ever and the new Bitcoin future of finance. I don't even know what half of these do. More than half, probably. I don't even know what they do. So keep that in mind. I'm only trading, you know, the exact thing I've been talking about this whole time, which is location, OBV, W and divergence, and weekly W. So, yeah, so I don't know. Like this one, I don't even know what it is. I did bang a double off on it though. And you know, like this one, you can see my old trade, you know, weekly W or weekly divergences and W's and OBV here as we were making lower lows. Made a weekly W that was kind of, you know, kind of wonky for sure, but the weekly W came in, and then I just bought the retrace. Had my level at that candle body low. Probably zoomed in on a daily chart or something to just catch that level, and then got a double off on that pop here, and then I already reloaded at 78.6, which is this green line, and now we're just sitting right where I reloaded. And really, this one, I mean, now it's kind of funny. We have a big ass weekly W, but it's with this ugly wick. So it's like I don't love the structure here, but I like the OBV a lot. Look how it's just ripping up. Very much strong OBV. And we are putting in a nice rounded bottom here. So I think the patient thing to do would be to just wait for another W to come in around these levels. But like I said, I've already started, adding my second car here. But damn, I like that OBV. NKN's just another one that's plodding along the bottom with nice OBV and no real structure. I just saw a potential W here. This is another one that I've already gotten one double off on this year. The weekly W is back here. There's this little weekly W here working still, and it's holding the lows. And then right here is kind of ugly, but if we break those highs, we'll have another weekly W. And we basically have trending higher OBV. That's about it. So not great, but I like this. Another example of one that has a lot of downside risk. If it starts losing the recent lows, it's got like a lot of risk to the downside. OXT, I saw people talking about the last couple of days, and it was taken off, and now it's sort of pulling back again. But you can see the weekly W and the OBV divergences. There's a divergence right there. And then now we've got a weekly W. Hopefully we get a nice strong close. So I like that one. OXT looks like I had it in there twice. Peer, we talked about on Sunday. Peer is just a nice sideways channel, nice tight channel with OBV trending higher and W and out and stuff. No weekly W yet. Well, there's the weekly W working back here, and now we're just we've been testing that low. But I think the next weekly W would come in on a break of this 366 high. So maybe wait for that and then buy the retest. But this is just building a nice channel and holding the lows. Of course, could always take the lows out. They might have to take these lows first before they move it higher. Now that we're setting up this kind of equal lows scenario. But that one looks good anyway, PYR. And I think that one has the FA thumbs up from some of our FA people. SHIB I just have on here because very nice OBV divergences and stuff, or W's at least, but in divergence actually. Also power of 3 looking. This is one where it did take the liquidity down here. It took these lows out, and now we're back in the range, and it looks like it wants to move higher. Ugly price action here in terms of market structure. There's no real market structure bottom here yet, but with the OBV looking like that, any kind of W that comes in down here, I would love to buy. Whether you call this a W or not is sort of up to you. That's kind of an ugly W, but it is there. So I could see buying that, like, that's 846 sats, I guess, or something. Yeah, I see you guys commenting all that. Let's see. Yeah, Dalmoody, we can look at the one year. Let's see. I know you're pressed for time, but another interesting chart from OBV point of view is KMD. Yeah, well, let's look at KMD here in a minute. Excuse me. Before I lose my voice. I'm just going to, I'm almost here. So I'm going to just go through these really quick. That'll be, man, that's like 20. At least you guys can hopefully, I'm trying my best. That's a lot of coins to rip through. Those are all solid ideas in my opinion. Now I'm not saying I don't know what's going to happen. And if the whole market kind of goes one way, they're all going to go with it. But these are the exact kind of names I'm looking for. Anyhow, moving on. SNX is one that I had been talking about for a while. Never broke this big W out. I was really hoping that we would have closed above this green dotted line and get into like W land to start. But hasn't done that yet. There is this sort of ugly, kind of like SHIB, like sort of steep W, and we checked it, and I did get filled there. So I'm nibbling here. I did nibble that level. And I just like the sideways channel building with awesome looking OBV. So very nice looking. And now we're on the other side of the trend line. So maybe this W would have been a little too early anyway. Now it's probably best to just wait for a nice solid W here. And you got like your trend line off the highs, nice tight consolidation zone. You could buy around 260 or something, and a double's, barely, a double's just a move up into these highs here. So like that one. Sushi, I'm just gonna mention this power 3 potentially. Sushi was one of the first weekly W's I took a shot on last year. I think it was last year. I was buying here when it dumped, and I remember there was some sort of FUD that knocked price down here. But you can see how we had, we were trying to put in a W, but then we put in this cheekier little weekly W right here with OBV pointing up and everything. And then we did make a bigger W and came back against the lows, and it was struggling. This was like early when very few altcoins were putting in weekly Ws like this. There was like only like a handful. Like ironically, I think XRP and this one were like the first two I remember seeing from this bottom. And you can see it never could quite get going. And I know they had a lot of FUD problems, and then now it's power 3 looking. So if it gets back inside of the range here, it'll make another kind of ugly weekly W. And so, um, we have OBV potential divergence here on a move, from that low down. So, it's looking pretty good. It's just this is sort of V bottom-ish right now, so it'd be nice to see a W, but maybe it just has to get back inside the range first anyway and kind of complete the power 3 structure, and then it'll be interesting. For right now, it's just sort of making a new low. It even took out this low, it looks like, just barely. Or no, it didn't. It held that actual low. So no structure there, but and keeping on. Unfi, this one looks pretty good. This one you could see is making a weekly W, has OBV divergence. It's trying to confirm. Actually, it did confirm last week. Yeah, so we confirmed this W last week, and location's good. And now we have a W coming in with kind of an ugly week so far, like I've talked about on a lot of these. So basically all I'm getting from this is let's wait till Sunday and see how all these close before we make any huge moves, I would say. Because there's a lot of these that seem like they're trying to break out, but then this one's tried to break out 2 weeks in a row and couldn't really get a strong close. So maybe that's not a great sign, but most conservative it would be to wait for a nicer W. But it is what it is. Looks good. XLM, I'm just mentioning for anybody that did get doubles off, just keep it in mind to reload as it comes back down. This is one of the nicer looking charts in crypto that's sort of farther along in creating an uptrend. Now we have like nice W's, strong breakout, and it's just sort of, we would expect it to come back at least to that level there at 11 cents, 11 and a half cents to check that. And so anywhere around there, I'd be down to reload. Basically just 88.6, and also the old W breakout. So, we broke out back there at the same level as we're now trying to, or now we have another established W. So I like that. YGG's on here, which is you probably time to buy it back almost. But this is a perfect example of what should happen with these weekly W's, right? So, this one's, I talked about this, I think on Sunday actually, so I don't need to necessarily repeat myself, but it's such a cool example of how patience can, how being patient and just knowing what you're looking for can really get you into these trades, and you don't have to sit in them forever. Again, remember my setup, location's good. We're making new lows. I like to wait for a OBV divergence, and you can see how, we're in potential divergence, but if you zoom in, you'll see we closed a new high on OBV there on this candle, on the same candle that we broke out. And so you could have just waited for that close on Sunday 2 weeks ago. And once you saw that close, pull up this chart. When you pull up this chart, you would have seen the candle body close just slightly above the W level, which is a nice sign. And then the OBV divergence confirmed. And then you could have just worked your bid at that breakout level, and you had actually had like several days of during the week to get filled. You'd had at least 4 days to get filled, and then it just rocketed like fucking from 17 cents up to like $1. Damn. Anyway, perfect trade. Even on the daily chart, you could have seen, divergences coming in back here, and then the W coming in, breaking out. So plenty of time to take this trade. You just got to be there watching. And I'll end with ZRX, which is just really an old familiar one to me, and it doesn't really look particularly great, except I pulled it up and the OBV is just like, damn, somebody's like accumulating it at least. Other than that, it's just sort of almost hemming out. So this one looks not good compared to the others I've shared. I just had it on here because this is an old sort of favorite of mine, and I hadn't looked at it in a while. And I just looked at that OBV. So I'll wait for pullbacks and then W's on that one. And then we'll look at KMD because Dalmoody wanted to. He said, and I know it looks nice. This one actually, yeah, it's funny. This is I'm already, yeah, this one, I've been buying, and I highlighted this one as this is like what I call this is like the traditional TRI shark. Sometimes in our group we talk about sharks a little differently because Paul has his own version of the shark setup. And so, but this is more like the TRI style shark, which I don't know. Anyway, it's just I shouldn't be necessarily sharing their setups, I guess, but it's just very. I mean, it's everything I do all the time anyway. But weekly W back here, and then as we come down against that weekly W, if it's at or below 78.6, that's like a nice location to go and just buy against the previous W breakout. And in this case, a great looking OBV. Because we're making higher lows, there's not really like divergence per se yet because we're still kind of holding the lows. But if we do dip down to a new low, then all of a sudden it'll probably start setting up potential divs here. But either way, a nice big fat W in OBV here and trending higher. I love KMD. I think it looks great. You could see I was in here buying the W, and now it's just sitting right at that same level. It hasn't really done anything. You could see the reaction that happened when it first came down into that level. It bounced, but now it's just still just sitting there. Really can't fault anybody. I mean, that's where I'm long from. It seems like just made a double already, came back to those lows. So looks good. And KMD is also one that's sort of an old favorite of mine, to be honest. It became a little trickier for me because now I'm kicked off KuCoin, and so I don't know where I can actually sell it. That's a whole other story. I gotta see exactly where I end up selling this thing down the road, but I do have it. So anyhow, I've been going for an hour. I see Paul said he noted some of these ideas for our other plan on Sunday. Oh yeah, Dalmudi talked me into getting into mandala. So I actually have that up on my I have the tab up here, and I was going to look more into it, but this is a potential place. So I mean, I'm looking into that, and then I'm also looking into. I mean, I don't know. I'm sort of nervous, but like CoinX, they have some pretty weird reviews. But like CoinX is a place where I could potentially like maybe buy altcoins and then move them to a wallet and hold them if I wanted. I don't know if I want to leave too much on there, but that's one place that doesn't seem to mind US people. I'm not like super hot on getting back. It's like I've gotten kicked off these exchanges, or every time it seems like every cycle there's been kind of sick of it. And KuCoin was sort of like the final blow. It kind of killed my spirits a little bit about messing around. So I want to just kind of keep it above board or on chain. Like if I can trade on Kraken and Coinbase, okay. If I can't, then I do want to move more to like have some on-chain trading activity, which ironically I got completely rug pulled on. I did get completely rugged I guess it was last week on I bought some piece of shit microcap meme coin called BYG, and I completely got rugged. It was kind of funny. I just took tiny amount of money just because I do want to kind of play around taking like punts on those sort of, just like this was like a less than 100K market cap. So yeah, if anybody actually is doing that, if anybody's like buying I don't want to get into that right now because I'm running out of time, but if anybody's kind of trading the shitcoin sort of like small cap new issues on chain, I'd love to hear your stories, maybe hear about your wins or something. Just I see them, and I'd kind of like to play with that a little bit more, taking tiny bets, not like just throwing a little bit of money at these and hoping that they like, can like climb in market cap, get pumped up a bit. But of course, my first attempt was completely rugged. So I'm not don't listen to my so far my that experience hasn't been that great for me. But I'm gonna keep trying some. But anyhow, yeah, Mandala, I'm gonna check out. Dalmoody, thank you. And then what was Paul saying here before I kill the stream? He says no referral, not financial. Oh, I do have one more thing to talk about too. Yeah, do your own research. Do your own research, not financial advice. Yeah, of course, everything I say here is just sort of my opinion. I'm not the best at this. I'm just somebody that has some experience, and I've learned some things here and there. And I'm just showing you what I'm doing. And then of course Paul and I on Sundays kind of we built a very simple plan, a very simple way to invest in altcoins, and we try to keep it as simple as possible for new people, and we're just trying to demonstrate how you might go about taking a taking using a strategy that basically takes relatively small risk, whatever's small risk for you, and is looking for exponential gains down the road. So it's like, kind of a punt, but you're not going to risk all your money. We're just trying to demonstrate how you can do that, and you basically spread your capital out across the altcoin market and try to get into free positions by selling half on a double, and then hopefully you have a stack of coins that you can ride into the next bull cycle whenever that is. And so we're trying to demonstrate that on Sunday to you. And then like today, I was just showing you kind of how my sort of deeper dive kind of way I'm going into doing the same thing for the most part. Just it's a little more complex, but just in terms of like the confirmation I'm looking for and stuff. But we're not really, I'm not telling you to go do this. I think you need to figure it out on your own. And if you are brand new and you're trying to take this a little more seriously, I do recommend you getting more involved in our community. And we have just actually launched like a training program that we're going to start here in September. So if you really want help learning how to do this professionally, then you might look into that. And I suppose if you go to our Discord, of course, our Discord channel is available to anyone that wants to join. It is, we have our free side, and then we do have our premium sides. But the free side, you can join just by DMing me or Paul on Twitter. It's probably the best way, because we did have to take our group private just due to spam and scammers and stuff. But in the free side, we kind of post more like longer term trades and some trade ideas here and there, and we'll look at stuff if people have questions and try to offer some value to people for free. But if you want to really sort of start executing in the market and taking it more seriously, we have our premium side, which is there's a lot of content being produced and a lot of like more day trading and scalping and grinding on a daily basis kind of situation, where we're basically trading every day during the New York session. We're trading during the London session. I'm usually asleep, but like there's activity during the London session, New York session, and there's a lot of support like with trade ideas and that kind of stuff. And so that'd be like our premium membership if you're interested in doing that. And then if you're brand new but want to learn how to excuse me, you want to learn how to do this, we started this our little training program. We're calling it Capua 1, because Capua is like a gladiator school in the Capua Coliseum. So it's kind of just funny. But we're calling this our Capua 1 program, and essentially it's designed to just onboard you into our style of trading as like premium members. Like, so if you wanted to get sort of like hit the ground running as like a premium member and learn how to do this professionally, so that you can kind of jump in and take the trades that we're talking about every day and understand what everybody's talking about in the premium rooms, this is designed for that. And so the basic, the basic thing here is we want to train, it could be you could have some experience, that's fine. But if you're brand new, that's also totally fine. And we just want to get you to a place where, in 4 months of our training program, you can execute on your own in the market. You'll have the tools and the information you need to build your own trading plan and to follow the process on your own, find what works for you, and then just go and execute that in the way you best can. And then at that point, you'll sort of know how we trade as a group, because we all kind of trade similarly. I mean, sort of, everybody kind of deviates a little bit, but a lot of the trading we do is very similar. So like the group kind of all knows what we're talking about when somebody's like suggesting a trade idea. And we're trying to get you to the place where if somebody says like, oh, I'm taking this long, you're in a place where you understand that trade, but also can determine whether that fits inside your own trading plan and whether or not you can take that trade. And so it's like, this is just like a little training program to get you up to speed. And so the way we're offering it is we're basically, you basically purchase a year of premium. So you join our premium room for a year, and then the first 4 months of that is just pretty much like a hardcore deep dive into becoming a professional trader. And it's essentially, you can go and read this for yourself, but essentially, we were going to spend 3 months kind of on like the curriculum, and then we're going to spend a month of just practicing and making sure you're getting your reps in and taking trades and logging your trades and reviewing your trades with Paul and I. And so, by the end of 4 months, you should be able to at least kind of understand more zoomed out swing trading at the minimum, but basically just have an understanding of how to act like a professional in the market. And then, of course, there would be 8 months after that to just go and trade with us in the premium room, and hopefully longer, because we're really just trying to help people become what we consider professional traders, which essentially just means that you're acting professionally. It doesn't mean you have to quit your job or anything, or you can't have a full-time job outside of trading. It just means that you're acting like a professional in the market. And we're trying to like build our community of people like that. And then hopefully you stick around and hang out with us over the long term, because, the more people we can help learn to do this, the better off we'll all be as we hang out as a group. Because I mean, trading's a very individual thing. You have to sort of figure it out. You have to figure out what works for you and implement what works for you. But having other people that are like-minded around you is like super beneficial, just in terms of like kind of help, you get a perspective on other people's styles, you get trade ideas, you get, you learn from each other, and also just have support when you're doing shitty or something, or need to lean on somebody for a little bit of advice. We're all kind of there. So like, we're trying to build a community here of pro traders. And so the point of this school is to jumpstart people, and so they can just hit the ground running in our group, understanding what we're talking about. So, we're basically teaching our style of trading. We're not saying it's the only way to trade or the only style. It's just kind of how we do it. And we think by the time we show you that, you can also then go out and continue on your own path of learning what works for you. So anyway, we're offering this. It's a $990, and that includes, like I said, a year of premium membership and the 4-month course. And then we're also just, kind of including a lifetime access to our THG indicator, which, really, even that alone, if you learn how to use that properly, that could be wildly profitable, and probably cover, any expenses for joining this training program. But so that comes with it as well. So if you're interested in that, I don't even think we have like a real waiting list just yet set up. So, just reach out to Paul. I mean, really, best thing to do is make sure you're at least on the free side of our Discord room, just so you can pop in and like read this. You can kind of see what we're all about. You can ask questions in there. You can hit us up and say you're interested in the course. I know there's already people that have joined up and are ready to start in September. And we're basically just offering this until September 10th, I believe. And then it could all change. We're not necessarily going to do this in the future, or it might look different or cost more or something. I don't, this is just like sort of we're just doing this time to see how it goes, and see if we can help some people learn how to trade. So consider that if you like what we do. And I think with that said, we've already been going an hour and 20 minutes now. It's really hard to keep these things shorter, but I feel like I did cover a lot of things, and I definitely covered a lot of names. So if any of those are interesting to you, I suggest you go look into them more. And I hope that you're trading with your own plan. Like, I mean, I think it's wise to just don't go jumping into this stuff without having a plan, because of course we want to have a plan to work from, to remove sort of the pain and suffering of having to deal with the issues that can be caused by just trading willy-nilly and just jumping into shit with no real like strategy. So if you don't have a plan, then maybe hit us up and at least start getting, and at least start following the Sunday show bare minimum, so you can at least see what a plan looks like and how that looks to implement a long-term investment plan. And so other than that, I'm just talking my opinion. I'm not really telling you to go buy these things or not. I'm just saying they look pretty good to me. They still fit in with my general thesis that this year is like an accumulation year, and I'm going to try to buy at the bottom of the range here now that altcoins are completely washed out, and the bear market's behind us. At least the brunt of the bear market's behind us, and I'm looking for some sort of rally next year or the year after, sometime down the road. I don't know when it's going to be. I just want to put myself in a place where I can take advantage of it when it does happen. And in order to do that, I have to be paying attention now when nobody else cares. So I'm going to be doing the same thing regardless. I think we're on our like 31st show on Sundays or something like that. We started on the first week in January. We're like 31 weeks into it. Nothing's changed. We've been saying basically the same thing the whole time. We've banged out quite a few doubles along the way, actually. So that's been cool. And then we're still just planning on accumulating for the rest of this year until proven otherwise. Until something tells us otherwise. And so with that said, I'll just wish you all the best of luck, and hopefully you do have a plan you're working from, and you can benefit from the next run as well. But yeah, you're welcome, Constantine. See you in here a lot. I appreciate you jumping in and watching. And I appreciate everybody else for watching too. And I'll be back next Tuesday live, and I'll be back Sunday first with Paul live, and then next Tuesday, and all those Sundays and Tuesdays going forward for the meantime. So I don't know. I'll wish everybody a good rest of your evening or day, and I will see you guys on Discord. So thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.